K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. And a good, not so easy Sunday morning for JD. It is 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, September 6th-ish, I think, 2015. JD and my lovely co-host Stacey is... Oh, you know what? Stacey was gone on Thursday night, and it was... I don't know. I was lost. It was like somebody cut my foot off, and I was going around in a circle, so I'm very glad that she's back to teach me how to do radio. Good morning, everybody. Bloody Marys and Broadsheets, JD and Stacey here on K98 Talk. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the chat room. We want to welcome all our political freaks, geeks, and back alley sneaks. Everybody right now, get over to K98Talk.com. Get in that chat room. Say hello to Stacey, everybody else who's in there. This morning, I am told we're going to be talking about Kim Davis, the Alabama clerk who is in that jail, baby, for doing that marriage license thing. Then we're going to talk a little Brandon Darby, and a recurring theme here, Black Lives Matter, they're attention whores. Who is, everywhere in the news. And then the best thing is we got a checklist for hoople-headed Congress, and guys, the Republican Party and its leadership is already telling everybody before they're back from their recess what they can and cannot do. I find that acceptable. Remember, folks, after the show, everybody get over to Spreaker.com, hashtag JD and Stacey, find a catalog of everything we've done here. I recommend Selena Zito interview from last Tuesday night, talking populism in the 2016 election. We're not only here Sunday morning at 11 a.m. on that Bloody Marys and Broadsheets, baby, but we're here Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live for Game On. Thursday again at 9 p.m. Miss Lennox, stop me from talking. Good morning.
Good morning. People are going to wonder why you're so whacked today.
Let me
It's
see if,
not as much fun as you think.
No, it's not. It's not that. It's not that I'm having like this crazy, like out of control Labor Day weekend. Like there's no penny hanging from the chandelier or anything. I'll give everybody a hint why JD is so tired, and Stacey's going to understand this, but we're going to have a prize for everybody in the chat room if we can figure out. So the clue as to why JD is so wiped out, I can't believe this. I can't find anything. You're getting the long version of it.
Durka Allah, Muhammad Jihad. Bagala, Muhammad Jihad. Bagala, Muhammad Jihad. Allah, Durka, Muhammad Jihad. Muhammad Jihad.
Bak, Dirk Allah. Durka, Muhammad Jihad. Haka Sherpa, Bakala.
Oh, Durka.
Okay, terrific.
I have to tell you something. People in the audience are not going to believe this, but in my business, I'm glad I found the long version. I literally had that conversation that you just had, including Durka, until about 3 o'clock this morning. So.
But somebody got on a plane at 5, so all is well.
No, we didn't finish that conversation. They did not.
Oh, even better.
No. Hold on 1 second. I got to reset one of my audio button bobbles here. No, why do you think I was so tired and cranky and pissed? Never trust a Durka, especially when they're looking for the
Oh, dear.
Everybody who has my cell phone number, call me later, and I will explain this. For those of you who know me well, I really shouldn't have to. But without any further fanfare or ado, because we got the best listening audience in the radio, baby, we're going to bring to you Stacey and I's very patented weekend update. And this is brought to you by that Mr. Eric Williams of that barbedwiresatire.com, baby. President Obama renamed Alaska's Mount McKinley, the tallest mountain in North America, to Denali to appease some of the native population. So, geography books will now have to be updated. Mount McKinley will still be the tallest mountain in North America, while Denali will be the tallest politically correct mountain in North America. Eric, write shorter jokes.
At a rally last week, 70 pastors from Ohio begged their own John Boehner to stop funding Planned Parenthood. But after looking into the matter and seeing that the move would involve no crying on his part and having to show an actual backbone, Boehner said to the group, "No thanks."
President Obama secured enough Democratic support this week to withstand any opposition Congress may put in his way to oppose his Iranian nuclear deal. This officially changes the model of the United States from walk tall and carry a big stick to give your enemy the biggest stick there is and just hope they play nice, baby.
Donald Trump signed a loyalty pledge from the GOP, and few details are known about the negotiations that took place before Trump signed. What we really need, though, is for each elected Republican official in D.C. to sign loyalty pledges saying they will honor promises they made to the American people.
Did you hear the audio of Rance Priebus from that meeting?
No.
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
More and more political figures were trying out their hands at stand-up comedy this week. Josh Earnest and Hillary Clinton, I can't get through this. Both got big laughs for using a punchline about the Kentucky clerk. Well, you told me this broad was from Alabama. I told you she was from jail for marrying gays, saying no elected official is above the law. Elsewhere, Black Lives Matter is killed on stage by Eric, I am sorry, I am killing this. Black Lives Matter killed on stage by doing a joke with the punchline that they're a love group, not a hate group. God, bail me out of this, please.
Hillary attempted to apologize again for using her private server with another non-apology. She spoke down to voters in a condescending manner by saying she is sorry for confusing the morons on the matter. In other words, she was talking to her base.
How many of these are left? The Pope is busy preparing his trip to America later this month as he's been reviewing the speeches he plans to make there. Touching on abortion, climate change, and wealth redistribution, insiders say there is better than a 50-50 chance the Pope will announce that he is running on the Democratic ticket in 2016.
A New York Times correspondent said on MSNBC this week that the only way to curb violent crime is by the government doing a massive gun grab. Since this will never happen, it is too bad the MSNBC crew member didn't have the foresight to have queued up Aerosmith's Dream On, which could have played in the background while the loons debated the issue on air.
I hate this place. Nothing works here. Medications don't work. I've been here for 7 years.
Another week in the email scandal for Hillary, and this week we learned that the FBI is seeking to find out who may have hacked her server during her time at the where the hell was she? At the State Department. Things are going so badly for Hillary that the FBI is now searching the home of her liberal friend Matthew Broderick for that War Games movie. This was brought to you by Eric Williams of the BarbWireSatire.com, and he's a lot better than I did today. Okay, everybody, welcome back to Trainwreck Radio here on K98 Talk.
It almost feels like the host monkey is back.
Oh, my God, I can't wait till after the show where Stacey just grabs me by the collar and is like,
Did your parents have any children that lived?
Sir, yes, sir.
I bet they regret that. You're so ugly you could be a modern art masterpiece.
Okay, terrific.
All right.
What just happened? And by the way, before we do this segment, where is this woman, Kim Davis, from? Is
She's from Kentucky.
Okay. Then why did you Alabama me last night?
Because I was confused.
Okay, for all of our very filthy and perverted people in the audience, when I say why did you Alabama me last night, it has nothing to do with
giggity, 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 let's have sex.
But it's something I'm going to think about now. We're going to have to come up with the Alabama position now for the audience.
Oh, my God. All right. So being that we're not in Alabama anymore, we're in Kentucky, a tiny little town of about 7,000 people, from what I understand.
No, go ahead. Describe the little town.
Well, it's a small town where a woman named Kim Davis basically inherited the county clerk position from her mother. Her mother was there for 36 years. She won the primary by a whopping 23 votes and then won 53% of the popular vote as a Democrat. Apparently, this 4 times married individual has had some kind of religious conversion and now decided that the right thing to do in light of the Supreme Court decision was to stop issuing marriage licenses, period, so that she wouldn't have to issue licenses to same-sex couples.
Oh, okay. So let me get this straight, right? So this woman, a Democrat, correct?
A Democrat.
And because she's a Democratic, so you're telling me she was a legacy, right? And not like a legacy at a sorority or a legacy at a company. She was a legacy. Mom was what?
Her mom was in the clerk position before she was. And now her son is her deputy.
You know, when you have legacy at local county clerk's office, it's just, this is like a small little pissant Bush dynasty. They never have to go out, get a job in here, you know.
How'd you like to mow my lawn? Huh?
So let me get this straight. So the Bush version of a Kentucky county clerk, you know, dynasty and legacy, was she like, what, 43, and mom was 42, and then grandma was like 38 or something like that?
Something like that.
So she's been sitting there and getting her full Benny. And by the way, kids, and yeah, we can ding Rand for it too, this is in the home state of Mitch McConnell. Yes. So she's sitting there working, my assumption would be, if she's a county clerk, what, about 11 a.m. to about 12:15 every
Something
other day.
like that.
Okay. Full Benny's probably a 6-figure job. And she's stamping her licenses and no problem. And then one day, because the world's on his ass, somebody comes in to get married and says,
3 simple words. I am gay.
And she gets the vapors over this. And now sits in the can. The best quote, I was talking to Stacey about this. I hope, what did I do with that? So, I want everybody to think about the way that the modern Democratic Party and progressives specifically, think about the people running for president, whether it's Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton. I personally, until this story happened, did not know that there were any blue dog Democrats left. I thought they completely got wiped out in 2010 with Bart Stupak and the rest of those guys. That whole Blue Dog coalition that Clinton had started was basically gone. I don't know where this woman comes from, because as a registered Democrat, this is someone who is going to jail for her religious convictions. Listen, she cannot be the only person there, right, Stacey? I want to give you a quote from the husband. This is the husband now. She won't bow, I promise you, her husband Joe Davis told the crowd while dressed in overalls and a camouflage ball cap. I'm just an old dumb country hillbilly, but I know God. Now, on a more serious note, let me ask you a question. She cannot be the only registered and voting Democrat, and I thought these people were gone, extinct in the museum, of faith and of some kind of moral conviction. To me, this woman screams convertible voter, Reagan Democrat. How many of them
but I mean,
there?
if you look across the board, some of the highest objections to same-sex marriage are from the minority communities, very religious minority communities, and the Black and Hispanic caucuses. I mean, Black pastors went nuts when Obama compared the civil rights movement to the LGBTQ movement.
So when we go to low information voters, say, how does the GOP craft the message to Kim Davis and to the Kim Davises of the world that, hey, pay attention, we're the ones standing for what you believe in? I mean, let me ask you a question. Do you think that Kim Davis has any idea of what's been going on with the RFRA laws and the attack on people of faith from the LGBT community? I mean, how could somebody still be a registered Democrat and be of this strong conviction of faith while not believing their lying eyes? I mean, can you explain the disconnect of that to me? Because I just don't get it.
I've never been able to explain the disconnect. I mean, when you look at the share of minority votes the Democrat candidates get, despite their rhetoric, and despite how far to the left they've gone, it's literally shocking to me. I don't, again, I think it's a complete failure on the part of the GOP, but I also think if you are going to work for the state, you have to do the work of the state. The only state that has handled this correctly in my mind, and it's because it's probably the least secular state in the union, is Utah. Okay? Utah has a specific exception that says the clerk's office is responsible for providing marriage licenses if a clerk opts out because of the religious conviction against gay marriage. That's fine, but they can perform no marriages. But the clerk's office is responsible for employing people who will issue that certificate. The clerk's office cannot shut down because of somebody's religious convictions. So put any more than the fire department can, the police department can. I mean, can you imagine if a religious exception to gay marriage covered police officers or EMTs? I mean, there are certain jobs you take where you have to hold up your hand and pledge to serve your community. If Kim Davis can't do that, she should step down.
You know, this, and we only have about a minute or two left here in the segment, but that just, you know how you and I speak, and Stacey and I have made no secret of it. Neither one of us are endorsing or supporting a particular candidate right now. But even before everybody announced, Stacey and I are inclined and like-minded with Rand Paul. And I think I think it's fair to say, been disappointed the disconnect of how powerful his policies and positions are and to how effective his presidential campaign has been.
Oh,
but let's go
Uber.
back. Well, let's go back. Wait, no, we're trying to get them as a sponsor. Don't give them free airtime.
Uber disappointed in Rand.
Yeah, this is a big Nazi week. We have these loyalty we have Uber here, yeah. Let's go back to how our major candidates can't politic. And again, we're not going to have a whole lot of time to go into this here. Let me look at my little crock here. We got about 30, 40 seconds. But from the politics of it, knowing that something like this could have come up, shouldn't Rand Paul have thought about sponsoring some kind of legislation within his own home state that when this did come up, and he would have had the added bonus of actually protecting somebody from the other party as a show of bipartisanship, didn't he completely fall down on the politics of this by not being prepared to have, as a home state senator, have at least sponsored some sort of legislation similar to what you were mentioning about in Utah? 20 seconds.
Well, I mean, I think Utah was a very unique case. They did it proactively. But, I mean, Rand Paul has been a supporter of RFRA, and I believe Kentucky has one. But I think the limits on it come to being a public official.
Right. So you don't see a missed opportunity there for him politically?
No, because he was not against the RFRA laws in Indiana. Kentucky already had one. 23 states or something already do.
See, kids, this is why I do radio, so I learn things. All right, JD has gotten through the first segment here on Sunday morning. We've completely butchered Eric's segment. We're going to owe him a couple of beers. Stacey and I are going to huddle. We're going to have a couple of cocktails, and we're going to be back for segment number 2. This is JD and Stacey, Bloody Marys and Broadsheets on K98 Talk. Coming back in the second segment, we got Brandon Darby. For those of you who don't know who he is, we're going to turn you on for him and how it's connected to the Black Lives Matters. Top off that drink.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rails. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan. This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
The feeling most people get when they hear Barack Obama's speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I don't have that too often.
Steady.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. Ricky Robinson, host of America Off the Rails, will tackle the important issues facing America today as he tries to keep America from coming off the track. Get ready to hear the truth every Monday through Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, here on K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
Welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy.
Red Nation Rising brings you Town Hall Radio.
From a single tweet to 3 million a month, our community is a force to be reckoned with on social media.
So don't miss our show, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on K98 Talk.
Our chat room is our co-host, and you ask the question.
Join us and be heard.
So get ready to sound off on Red Nation Rising Radio. No one else is going to do it for you.
There's a wild, wild whisper blowing in the wind, calling out my name like a long lost friend.
K98Talk.com, a leader in Internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com.
Sunday morning, ready and recharged, coming into the second part of the program here, coming into the bottom half of the 11 o'clock hour, AM Eastern Standard Time. JD and Stacey here, Bloody Marys and Broadsheets on K98 Talk. Everybody right now within the sound of my voice, grab 5 people and get to K98Talk.com right now. Get in that chat room. I tell you what, our audience, Stacey, is so smart. I got my left eye over, not left eye from TLC, who died in the car accident, any of you who got that reference. But I'm sitting here looking off in the corner of my eye over at the chat room, and the conversations that go in there are great. As a matter of fact, sometimes when I look at it, I don't know if they're listening to the show. I think they just might be talking to each other. Are you with me? Are you unmuted? You muted?
We are just here to provide like a great social hour.
A great social. Listen,
there it is.
I know a girl like that. Remember, kids, we're not just here Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. on Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. Baby, you're over that mainstream media hangover. Catch us for Game On Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, we're live Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time after that Radio Red Nation Rising, baby. And as always, go to Spreaker.com, hashtag JD and Stacey. Find a catalog of all what's going on. You hear us teasing it. Rumors, little birdies have told me that this K98 talk cruise is getting closer and closer. And, kids, we're going to tease it right now. Get ready for JD and Stacey making a major, major announcement soon about some terrestrial radio call letters. Ain't that right, baby?
That's what I hear.
Woo-hoo! All right, now listen.
We cannot thank our great station manager, Rick Robinson, enough.
No, that Ricky Tiggy Tabby Rick Robinson has just, I mean, every time Rick calls me up, I'm just like. That's how excited I am. You know what? JD's waking up, so let's, everybody in the chat room, listen to me. Close off. Stand up. You heard me? It's Sunday. You too, co-host. Chat room, close off. Stand up. All right, baby, now it's a radio show. What do we got coming in here to segment number 2?
We got coming up here, what in the world is going on? So, basically, there was some young, stupid girl from outside of Houston on Twitter who decided to make a less than polite remark about the deputy who was basically assassinated while pumping gas right outside of Houston.
Less than polite. It was disgusting.
It was disgusting. Her name was Monica Foy. She had it on her profile. Her location was on her profile. She had a Facebook page. And her comment got picked up by Breitbart News, specifically Brandon Darby. And Brandon Darby has been writing for some time on the fact that the Black Lives Matter movement is not all peaceful and kind. And when he finds an example of it, he uses it. And this girl had repeatedly tweeted the hashtag Black Lives Matter. He found another young lady yesterday who made a less than polite comment about the same situation. And he quote tweeted her. Ever since this article that on the first young lady has come out, he has been taking abuse on social media like I have not ever seen, that he is wrong to highlight it, that now this girl has had some negative things happen. Apparently she had an arrest warrant open in Houston and they came and got her once this hit the press. Well, that's your fault, not Brandon Darby's fault. You know? Right. So she did end up being arrested and she did, I believe, bond out. But apparently the girl has gotten death threats and, has been harassed to some degree. They're saying Brandon Darby should stop highlighting these things and these comments associated with the movement because it's not fair. He has a platform. These individuals don't, and it's causing them to be harassed.
For those of you who do not know who Brandon Darby is, he's with Breitbart. And let me give a caveat and a qualifier. Before I go further on that. When Andrew Breitbart was alive and first established the Breitbart umbrella, I found it to be a very good and reliable source of information. After his passing, there's been some, you guys have seen it all over the press. It started with Dana Lash. There's just been back and forth about the legacy. It's very emotionally induced, but what have you. I feel sometimes that I must double and triple check a lot of things that I see on Breitbart just because of some of their editorial lapses in the last couple of years. That being said, Brandon Darby, in my experience and what I have read of his, and I have been reading him, I think, probably since he first started over there, is an exception to that. Stacey and I, and we make this point all the time about going to these conferences. Stacey and I have had the opportunity to see him speak. His story is absolutely phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And this was a man who, when Andrew Breitbart himself asked him to write for Breitbart, couldn't really write that well, and Andrew told her, and I'm not going to sit here and give you the whole story. I recommend you go look at his backstory. That being said.
Well, and he's done some awesome work at the border.
He's done, I'm telling you.
I mean, the reporting he did from the border, last year and the year before and continues to do is amazing.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you something. Our audience, we know them pretty well at this point. If you're not familiar with him, go to Breitbart, go find his page, and go through his catalog. You will be well impressed. That being said, so Brandon Darby now is going to take all sorts of holy hell for basically pointing out this awful, vicious, malicious statement by, what was her last name, Foy?
Foy, yeah.
What was her first name?
Monica.
Monica Foy, kids. Make sure it's the right Monica. If you can find her publicly anywhere on any kind of social media.
She's not. She's totally shut down Facebook, Twitter, everything.
All right, good. She deserves it because she's a ridiculous, skelly ass bag. But
we go from a hat to a bag. Wow.
Okay, terrific.
Oh, wait a minute.
But I mean, I think the bigger point, prior to Brandon writing this article, he wrote a really good article following the murder of that cop. How a lot of the mainstream media came out to provide air cover for the movement. The New York Times, MSNBC, et cetera, putting Black Lives Matter, not the original movement out of California, but now the whole social online movement, as a peaceful group of protesters.
No, I keep talking. Let me tell you something. I said this Thursday night.
Then you pop up with a photo of DeRay McKesson, who is the face of that movement now, because so many of them have been arrested or other things like Basim Masri and a few others. We have a former leader arrested and convicted in a bomb plot. We have DeRay McKesson posing for photographs with Louis Farrakhan, who has decided a really great thing to do is raise an army of 10,000 to start, declaring open season on white people. And we have the offshoot movement called FYF 9/11, and I won't say it on the air, but you can something your flag 9/11, which is supposed to be hitting the streets this September, which is not at all a passive movement.
No, and I want
nobody in the mainstream media is willing to acknowledge it. Even if you look at what happened last weekend. So Glenn Beck has a event in Alabama that crossed political lines, crossed diversity lines, crossed all kinds of lines, called All Lives Matter. 30,000 people showed up. What did the press cover? A Black Lives Matter protest with 350.
I want to come in. I want to tie in a point here, and this is what you were talking about, the coverage. You were talking about the movement, and the point that we started to make last week is that this movement, though we try to troll the hell out of the left and have fun with it and laugh, is really a very serious and has members that are anarchists, basically anarchistic or basically terrorists. If you're not familiar with the people that Stacey was mentioning, go look up Basim Masri, who's been tied to the hip at this movement and knee-deep with DeRay McKesson and a lot of the violence that has stemmed up around it. If you take a look at Basim Masri, all right? So if you say I went to a Tea Party event, you're going to get audited and you're going to get put on a terrorist watch list. We said this the other day. The Southern Poverty Law Center, which started out doing good work against the Ku Klux Klan. For those of you who don't know it, Lawrence Dees, who runs it looks like a cross between George Lucas and Bob Ross. Remember Bob Ross from PBS? He was that Vietnam guy. And we're going to paint a happy little tree. And we're going to put a tree here and put a tree here. God damn it, I put the wrong color. But anyway. And I always pictured, but I mean, not to go off on a tangent, but I always picture Bob Ross. We're going to have a nice tree.
You off on a tangent?
Right here. And then I didn't get the tree right, God damn it. Did we just do a segment on Bob Ross killing himself? But let me come back to it. You need to take a look at Basim Masri, because when we're about to start referring to Black Lives Matter as an actual domestic terrorist group, this is a man who openly advocates jihad, who openly advocates and foments violence in the streets here in the U.S., and openly advocates and solicits funding for it. So this isn't some, Alex Jones tinfoil hat InfoWars conspiracy. Don't believe me? Get yourself over to some National Review. David French, September 2nd. Black Lives Matters cost black lives. Quote, the problem is so bad that even the New York Times is taking notice. There is, in fact, a sudden sharp rise in murders in major American cities. The chart below is sobering. This is the murder rate. This isn't shootings. This isn't felonies. This isn't robbery. These are murder rates. Milwaukee, up 76%, the murder rate. St. Louis, up 60%, the murder rate. Baltimore, up 56%. You have.
Did you hear what that jerk Mosby said?
What did he say?
No, Mosby, the attorney general there, or whatever she is, the prosecutor for the city of Baltimore, says it's all Martin O'Malley's fault. Has nothing to do with recent riots or protests. I call that magical thinking.
You want to know something, Stacey? I have a perfect cut here. It runs about 2.5 minutes, but you want to bring this cut in. It's Megyn Kelly. It's not even the discussion on her show. It is major people on the left, including the head of the DNC and presidential candidates, endorsing this movement behind a spike in 76% increase in murder rate in Milwaukee alone. You want to bring this in for the audience?
Sure.
All right, guys, this is just listen to how the left is so comfortable with this Black Lives Matter movement.
That was a new Black Panther group protesting in front of a Texas jail a few weeks back. Just one of the angry and incendiary chants we have seen against police in recent months. We have heard from folks like the 2 law enforcement officers you just saw, but so far haven't heard much from Washington. However, take a walk back with me to 2011. When a shooting in Tucson led to an angry chorus complaining about what they said was angry Tea Party rhetoric.
As Chuck Schumer was saying, in politics, in the media, in the public square, fashion our rhetoric so that it does not incite but informs.
It may be constitutionally permissible, but it shouldn't be acceptable rhetoric. We shouldn't invite it on the radio talk shows or the TV, at least without comment. We ought to say that just goes too far.
The discourse in America, the discourse in Congress in particular, to answer your question very specifically, has really changed. And I'll tell you, I hesitate to place blame, but I have noticed it take a very precipitous turn towards edginess and a lack of civility with the growth of the Tea Party movement.
I think all of us need to say that our rhetoric we need to check. None of us should become so defensive that we say we're not going to change. We all need to see if there is change required, change needed, and all realize that there are some very unbalanced people here in this country that anything can trigger.
Joining me now, Richard Fowler, nationally syndicated radio host and Fox News contributor, and townhall.com editor, Katie Pavlich. Good to see you both. Wow. So, I went out to see, Katie, whether Debbie Wasserman Schultz was out denouncing the rhetoric that we are now hearing, the lack of civility that she was complaining about with the Black Lives Matter movement. And this is what I found her saying about that movement. Stand by.
I'm proud of the young people who have been pushing that Black Lives Matter movement. We've brought the Confederate flag down. We've made sure that symbols of hate are unacceptable in America.
So, all right, Stacey, with about 2 minutes left, listen to how comfortable. Am I wrong when I say these are the same people of the same ilk who are crushing Brandon Darby for pointing this out? Do I have this right?
Oh, absolutely. And, one of my favorite folks on Twitter, Radio Free Tom, his name is Tom Nichols, actually put out a great article today. The new totalitarians are here. Absolutely. And he very eloquently differentiates between authoritarianism and totalitarianism. And what we are being asked to do now in any number of ways is change the way we think to be acceptable. Now, I am all for equality of opportunity. I always have been. I believe what you do with that opportunity is up to you. And if you want to sit there and play the victim for something that happened 200 years ago, I'm not going to cry in the beer with you. Okay? But to endorse this movement is to endorse further violence. And, you know, the whatever that DHS report was that came out that says the biggest threat is from the right-wing terrorist movement, I would challenge them to go back to police officers now and say, where's the biggest threat coming from? Because it's not coming from folks on the right side of the house. Our rallies, everything we do is notoriously unremarkable. 30,000 people in Alabama. Nothing. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got stepped on. Nobody, nothing, right? NRA conventions, most peaceful thing you're going to see. Tea Party rallies on the square down in D.C. were cleaner when they left than when they got there.
Absolutely.
But somehow we're painted as these crazy insurgents.
But that's all.
When we have Louis Farrakhan. I mean, can you imagine if somebody on the right said something like that about raising an army to kill certain kind of people? Oh my God, the GOP would be painted with the biggest racist brush you had ever seen.
I said it,
and it would be over.
I said it the other day. If anybody on the right asked for 10,000 volunteers to kill spotted owls, the left would be all up in arms. But don't worry, JD and Stacey here in K98 Talk got you covered. Black Lives Matters, you're in our head sites, and that's why we love trolling you with your theme song. Okay? But not to be outdone, you know La Raza's waiting in the wings. JD and Stacey got our eye on them, too. You want to go to hell with me, Stacey, or am I going by myself? Coming back on the other side.
I think you're going by yourself.
Segment number 3. Like, this should be our new bumper. Hold on a second. Is it?
No.
No?
No.
But they thought we want to be positive to the immigrants. Don't forget, kids, next week, Roman Maloney, you summon a bastage, kids. Talking Trump's immigration plan. Back for the last part of the show.
Hey everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes in...
Listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works.
President Obama, I can handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before.
Did someone say green?
Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind?
Now, do you say good things about me on the show?
No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much.
The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation.
Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo?
I got a pen. I can veto that, you know.
I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it.
Here's an executive order. Don't listen to a show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either.
That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
Welcome back on this easy Sunday morning, September 6, 2015. Heading headlong into that Labor Day weekend holiday. JD and Stacey getting you through to the noon o'clock hour here on K98 Talk on Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. Did I just turn into wacky dopey radio guy? Getting you into noon o'clock there. Oh, God in heaven. Everybody right now get over to K98Talk.com. Get in that chat room. See the smartest listening audio, radio, Stacey.
Audience.
Bloody Mary. I need a young priest and an old priest. The power of Christ compels you. Jesus, where's Michael Myers when you need him? All right, kids, listen, your kids are going back to school. College and pro football is starting. The boys of summer are fading into the fall classic. We'll have a World Series winner soon. And you know what that means? It means the start of the circus in D.C. because the 12-year-olds that we pay to get there have more time off than your kids. So... I think that literally plays when you walk into the halls of Congress. Okay. Anybody who has never been to the Capitol, I recommend going when they're in session because all you do, sit in the gallery and watch the machinations and just what doesn't happen in Congress, and you will just walk back to your car.
I hate this place. Nothing works here. The medications don't work. I've been here for 7 years.
Or just watch C-SPAN.
Oh, God. The C-SPAN.
Okay.
C-SPAN.
But here is my bottom line. Bottom line statement, okay?
Oh, I love your bottom line.
In 2000...
Giggity, let's have sex.
I'm sorry, you said bottom
line.
In
2014, the electorate gave the GOP in Congress a mandate. Are we stupid? No, we're not stupid. We know a lot of the things we want passed will not make it past a presidential veto because we do not have a veto-proof majority in the Senate. That's politics, folks. But I would rather get nothing done and have Obama have to veto things to show what a progressive POS he actually is than have my elected leaders who were given a mandate roll over constantly.
But this goes back to what, look, the smart political punditry for my money has it right about the natives being restless and about politicking. And I'm going to tell you something. I've said it and I will say it again. The GOP, in this one man's opinion, is at a point right now that if they do not put up a candidate who is truly conservative and truly, if he is elected, proceeds to govern as such, they will die as a party. Because to Stacey's point, everybody talks about, it was a wave election in 2010 and the Tea Party is going to be in the history books forever. It's going to be part of this great political movement. Okay. Then again, in an off-year election in 2014, in the midterms, the voters in this country with a runaway extra-constitutional president deliver the House and the Senate. And let me tell you something. Ronald Reagan had divided government and got it wrong. The voters twice go and put these people in because they couldn't get it done at the presidential level. And you want to know something? For all we talk about low information voters, I contend that people on the right understand the mechanics of our government better than the people on the left. They knew what they were doing by putting people in there to legislate. And you want to know what? To Stacey's point, nothing. Go back and look at the beginning of the last session of the Senate. One of the first things Mitch McConnell did was to begin to implement more of Obama's agenda. Stacey said it to me last night or this morning. In this, I forget it. This was from AP she sent me. We were going to go into it as a joke, but now I'm worked up. It's a list of what Congress is coming back to do. Have you ever heard a progressive Democratic or liberal politician, anybody of consequence on the left, speak about their agenda and one, ever take a half-inch step back from it or say, but I don't think we can get this done? No, never. But to Stacey's point, this AP article, what was this, yesterday? This article in AP is from yesterday or 2 days ago. Let me go about the 9th or 10th paragraph down. This is McConnell. Quote, we just don't have the votes to get the outcome we like. Unquote. There is no reason, there is not even any reason now to go through the list and the litany of what these guys want to do, because leadership, not some freshman congressman from Paducah who wants to make some headlines, the majority leader of the Senate, who is supposed to be the standard bearer for our party in that House, is already talking about what he can't do.
Well, so we can't defund Planned Parenthood, even though 74% of Americans have a more conservative view of what the abortion rules should look like. I mean, there's pretty much agreement after the first trimester, not a good idea. And, you know, if you ask the question correctly, and several polls have, the majority of Americans believe it should not be taxpayer funded. It's a lie. And we can't get that done with 74% of Americans agreeing with us. Okay? This is largely because I don't believe the Democrats expect their folks to represent their constituency, because they believe in that whole meme, we're smarter than you. You know, we're talking about a 2011 sequestration that they fought for and won, even with Obama as president, and they're about to give it away. So we're going to raise the ceiling on $18.1 trillion to fund Obama's domestic policy so we can get a little bit stronger military. This is insane.
Let me go
back.
The
House holds the purse strings. Use them.
Let me go back to McConnell's quote. Quote, first you got, oh my God, we just don't have the votes to get the outcome we'd like, unquote.
Then you make him veto it. The only way you expose the extent of the left's agenda is make them say no.
Have you ever heard, and this was off-mic audio of McConnell at the last State of the Union. Have you heard this from the K98 talk crew? And in this clip, he's specifically talking about Obama. It's fascinating.
No, I'm your number one fan.
I mean, what else are you to take away from that? And this, I'm going to tell you something, and it can be the beginning of the destruction and the apathy of voters on the right. No, I know that I know the natives.
Are you kidding me?
I know the natives are restless. I know they have pitchforks and torches. But again, folks, it doesn't matter who you're voting in to your individual district when it comes to the federal government in Washington, D.C. I made the point. In 1980, all the smart people on the left said the same thing. Mutually assured destruction was here to stay. The United States and the Soviet Union would always be the world's two superpowers. We had to live with it and understand they would always be around and make sure that we gave them enough concessions so that they did not blow up the world. 4 years into an 8-year presidency, a single man's leadership began the dismantling that culminated in one of the fastest falls of a major power in recorded history. How did he do that? By never, ever in his life starting a statement about a fight that he was going to get into by saying, quote, the way that Mitch McConnell did, we just don't have the votes to get the outcome that we'd like. Minute and a half, 2 minutes left, Stacey. Make me laugh about something here, because I honestly don't understand. I do not believe that until leadership is changed in both houses of Congress for the Republican Party, anything else matters.
And neither do I. And all the focus on the establishment GOP in the primary race is a false narrative. The president does not control Congress, nor does the president make laws. So if you're electing someone to go in there and do stuff through executive order, stop and think about that, because you're pushing the Obama strategy, okay? Congress needs to be changed. So where everybody's angst should be with establishment GOP is with folks like John Boehner, Mitch McConnell. What's his little
Uncle Louie,
Penn and Teller looking guy there? The one from Louisiana. I can't remember his name right now.
Scalise.
Scalise, thank you. Kevin McCarthy. Okay?
Vaginas.
Those are the people we should be going after. If you live in their home district, you should be trying to find primary candidates. We have primary candidates for John Boehner and John McCain. We have one for David Joyce, who's also an F. We have one for Renee Ellers, who's a horrible, horrible, horrible GOP representative in the House. We have got to start bringing light to the fact that these people need to be replaced or nothing gets fixed. We end up in another deadlock.
Preach it like the Lord and the baby Jesus in your ear, Sister Stacey. Tell him.
Congress is what needs to be fixed.
Nothing works here. The medications don't work. I've been here for 7 years.
All right, that clip could either sum up that segment of the show. I cannot believe the fastest hour in radio is over. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show this morning. Stacey, say hello and goodbye to the nice people. Lionel!
Have a wonderful holiday weekend, folks. Hope you're eating some good barbecue, drinking some beer, and having fun with family and friends.
Oh, and tell all the new listeners that seem to be showing up to the show every week where they can find you, baby.
They can find me on @ScottsFire on Twitter or Stacey Lennox on Facebook.
And you can find me on @GameOnJD on the Twitters. I'm somewhere on Facebook with the same kind of picture, and every once in a while getting thrown out of places I never should have been in the first place. Happy Labor Day weekend to the best listening audience in the business. We'll see you guys Tuesday night.
If it's Sunday, it's Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
We're your cure from your weekly news hangover.
Thank you for taking it easy with us. You can find our show account on Twitter @JD and Stacey, or send us your interesting news story of the week to GameOnWar, that's WAAR, @gmail.com.
And you can find me on Twitter @ScottsFire and on Facebook @Stacey Lennox.
And you can find me on the Twitters @GameOnJD.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602.
Giggity, 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 let's have sex.